Also tonight, the border buildup gains momentum.
The governor of a Mexican state bordering Texas says it cannot take in any more migrants wanting to cross into the U.S. The situation is triggering a rush of law enforcement to the border town of Eagle Pass across from Piedras Negras, Mexico.
Our border reporter Oscar Margain shows us what's happening there tonight.
Maverick County Judge David Saucedo told us he's been working with the Texas National Guard to find a place here in Eagle Pass to set up a tent city for several hundred troops. He believes the county fairgrounds just behind me might just be the best place for that.
Right now we are negotiating some terms to make sure that they have, number one, the land that they need. We've got a couple of sites that Maverick County owns. We have acreage throughout the community, but this is one of the better sites that can be utilized for what they're looking at.
According to the county judge, the Texas National Guard is looking for 20 to 30 acres of space with a short distance to town and to the border for a quick deployment. There's 35 acres available at the county fairgrounds. Eagle Pass already has a small number of Texas National Guard troops, and more are on their way, 400 to 600 more. The Texas Governor Greg Abbott has requested, says Saucedo, troops that could stay in the area from a few months to a year.
What they're actually looking at tent city type of facility where they would come in and bring in their own amenities and make sure that they have the services. They'll provide their own services and get everything up and running.
A spokesman for the Texas National Guard in Austin told us they're not ready to officially confirm how many troops, if any, will be arriving to the Eagle Pass area. On Wednesday, the Department of Defense announced it is mobilizing roughly 250 active-duty military personnel from Arizona to Eagle Pass, including military police and medics, as well as engineers tasked with reinforcing the ports of entry. The move is in response to the arrival of 1,800 asylum seekers that have reportedly saturated the shelters across the border in Piedras Negras. The judge anticipates Texas National Guard troops to roll into town sometime within a week or so. In Eagle Pass on the Texas-Mexico border, I'm Oscar Margain reporting.